Together!
Kingdom Hearts 3 has been a long time coming, well over a decade in fact. And though there have been seemingly millions of spin-offs and side projects and films and remasters and comics that have added to and overwhelmingly expanded on the lore, it's all been leading up to the official continuation of Sora, Mickey, Goofy and Donald's adventures. Luckily, the wait is almost over. We don't have a confirmed release date just yet, but apparently that is coming next month, according to director Tetsuya Nomura. But even more solid proof that the game is almost finished is, I've played it. Here are 13 things I learned about Kingdom Hearts 3 after actually going hands-on with a couple of its new worlds and hearing from its development teams at Square Enix and Pixar. Enjoy. So, first up, about that release date. Nomura's official statement at the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere event this week was that an announcement should be coming, quote, early next month. So, probably just before E3. Nomura said, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a title with many people working on it, so we are making final adjustments, but we are pretty firm on a certain date, so we hope to reveal it next month. There you go. And as far as we can tell, they're sticking with a 2018 window, so if we were to guess, we'd say a November release date is looking fairly likely at this point. There were 2 demos available to play at the premiere event. A short section in the Olympus Coliseum world battling a huge Titan boss, and a much longer expanded section in Toy Box, the Toy Story themed world. The demo in Olympus Coliseum featured a lot of the new wall scaling auto-run mechanic, with Sora, Goofy and Donald scaling sheer cliff faces as the Titan pelted rocks at them from above. This feature didn't always play nice with the camera, especially when space to move was confined to very narrow cliffs, and Sora's movement was constricted to either up, right or left. But once the summit was reached, you had a bit more room to move around and battle with the gigantic monster, and the fight ended with Sora summoning the big magic mountain attraction, which looked pretty incredible. The next playable section was the real star though, the Toy Box world. This is the first time a Pixar world has been featured in a Kingdom Hearts game, and it really works. There are so many cool little details and secrets tucked away throughout the world, from hidden Mickeys to minigames to Final Fantasy Easter eggs. The demo begins in Andy's room, where Woody, Buzz, Rex, Ham and the soldiers are fending off Heartless, or intruders as they call them. Sora, Goofy and Donald show up to help, and though Buzz is initially distrustful of the trio, they all decide to work together after Woody and Buzz reveal that the other toys went missing when a mysterious man in a black hood started showing up. That's right, the organisation is still up to its old tricks. And though we didn't get much of a taste of the overall story for Kingdom Hearts 3, we did get a sense that it's going to be just as convoluted and complex as before, with multiple Xenohearts and Nobodies and Heartless running around causing trouble. Anyway, the action soon moves from Andy's bedroom, out the window and into the street, where you got a bit more of a taste for battle. Though it takes a little while to get to grips with, Kingdom Hearts 3's combat is similar to previous main entries, but it's just more everything really. It's full-on spectacle all the time, with magic, links, attractions and now multiple keyblade transformations to utilise, meaning it's very rarely a case of just mashing X to attack. The biggest change to combat is the keyblade transformations. This was a feature in Birth by Sleep, where the keyblade transformation was something you were able to do if you mastered the usage of a keyblade. And according to Nomura, since Sora has now become more skilled, he's able to use that feature in Kingdom Hearts 3. Different keyblade transformations have different properties. For example, the Toy Story themed keyblade transforms into a hammer, which hits hard, while the tangled keyblade transforms into a magical staff, which doesn't hit anything, but casts a lot of spells. This introduces new levels of strategy to combat, especially since you can switch between keyblades while you're battling, and keep the current level of transformation. The Toy Story keyblade evolves from a hammer into a drill, and the drill allows you to evade enemies by digging holes in the ground and going around them. The Monsters Inc. keyblade evolves into agile claws, and then into a yo-yo. So it's fun for moving fast, keeping your distance, and dishing out heavy DPS. Mostly though, it's just fun to cycle through the different blades, creating new combos and trying out the skills available at each level. Between those, attractions, and links, it's rare you'll ever not have a special ability available for deployment at any time during longer battles, which definitely helps keep things interesting. The skills and finishers all look beautiful too. Our favourite was the Tangled Keyblade, which could create a tower attack as a finisher. Sora, Goofy, Donald, Buzz and Woody travel from Andy's street to a huge toy store, where the mysterious man in black was last spotted. And in this store, there are multiple giant robots for the team to battle and for Sora to commandeer. So if you get a bit fatigued with regular combat, it's always an option to mix things up by diving into a mech instead. And again, there are loads of secrets hidden in the toy store, with Rock'em Sock'em robots to play with and a video game store you can have a look at, selling such well-known titles as Wall Street Ninja 2 and Herd of Zombies. It's also worth mentioning at this point that, weirdly, some of the Toy Story characters get a bit meta with Sora and company, remarking that they're video game characters and very popular. Smooth, Square. Real smooth. Combat aside, the Toy Box world is just a real joy to explore too, which, according to Nomura, was one of the main things the team had in mind while designing it. There are loads of details that you'll miss if you just blast through it. Nomura also cryptically suggested to players at the event that they should try hitting a gas tank in the build. It turns out that that tank was a helium canister used for blowing up balloons, and hitting it causes the characters to have a very funny conversation in high-pitched voices. Co-director Tai Yuzui explained that when the team are designing a world for Kingdom Hearts, there are several phases. The first is Phase 0, where a rough mock-up is created. This is where enemies and gimmicks and treasure boxes are placed, to see and test how the game is going to feel as players move through the world. After that, there are several phases where they add in finished graphical assets, lighting and various post-processes. Keyblades, UI and unique looks for each world are created by a team of designers, but Nomura oversees all these and chooses every single one of them himself. Designers will provide about 3 different variations, and once one is finalised and approved by Nomura, it will go to Disney for feedback and approval from them. Then requests and changes are made, and then the design is finished. Also, previous Kingdom Hearts games didn't have specific lighting teams, but KH3 has a huge lighting team, which according to Yuzui really adds additional layers of depth and warmth to the game. For each scene in the game, the team has gone through and meticulously added main and secondary lights so that each character, according to Yuzui, looks perfect, and that the mood of each scene is more eloquently conveyed. Nomura and Yuzui also briefly talked about Classic Kingdom, a recently announced selection of minigames inspired by both classic Disney cartoons and 1980s LCD games that is available in Kingdom Hearts 3 and on mobile prior to the release of Kingdom Hearts 3. There are over 20 Classic Kingdom minigames for players to find and unlock, and these are accessed in Kingdom Hearts 3 through a mobile port key of sorts that Sora has. Apparently this portal is also where Sora stores all his memos and notes and other info too, and Nomura said that it has a lot of other features aside from Classic Kingdom, which he thinks fans will want to spend some time on. A photo/selfie mode perhaps? Obviously, classic black and white Disney cartoons are the inspiration behind Classic Kingdom. Timeless River was featured in Kingdom Hearts 2, and co-director Yuzui said that he wanted to bring that idea back for 3. Not all of the 20 Classic Kingdom games will be available from the beginning though, so collecting them throughout the worlds is a part of the game too. There are other mini-games aside from Classic Kingdom of course, and Nomura hinted that some of these would be revealed next month. It wasn't just Square in attendance at the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere, however. Jason Katz and Tasha Sundart from Pixar were also there and talked about their experience working on Kingdom Hearts 3. Tasha is an associate creative director at Pixar, having worked in the animation department since June 1997, starting with A Bug's Life. She's also worked in games though, directing Costume Quest at Double Fine before returning to Pixar, where her current job melds all of her past skills together. She's also a big Kingdom Hearts fan. Jason Katz is a story supervisor at Pixar and has worked in the story department there since Toy Story. And most recently, he spent 6 years as a story supervisor for Coco. Katz said that obviously story is an important aspect for Pixar films, and they take it very seriously. So the opportunity to create original stories for Kingdom Hearts 3 was exciting, and he was encouraged early on with conversations about what felt right and what would work. Sundart said that the Square Enix creative process was very similar to Pixar's when it comes to film, where they'll go all the way from script to storyboard for their scenes and worlds to layout and block animation. They both said Pixar was involved from the very beginning, giving notes on the script to make the Pixar characters feel authentic to how they would actually act in these situations. Katz said it took time and trust to understand what both companies could collectively bring to the table for the end game. And early on, one thing they talked about was the Toy Story universe and what it meant. Katz said that a big part of the Toy Story films is nostalgia. Nostalgia for toys that you remember growing up or that feeling of playing with a toy as a kid. Katz said he remembered having really great conversations talking to people at Square Enix and asking them, what were the toys you remembered? What were the toys from your childhood? And they brought back the ideas for the Gigas, the robots. And that was when it really started to click that both teams were really speaking the same language. That's when you really take advantage of the time it takes to develop a really quality story, Katz said. Sundart also said that Pixar gave Square Enix some of their actual character models to use in the game. They weren't shaded, Sundart said. Our software has some limitations where we don't have the ability to give shaded models, so they had to add shading and Sully's fur and things like that. But then it's just a conversation, a back and forth with lots of notes. We had our original character designers on Monsters Inc. and Toy Story help out and give notes, just to make sure everything looked as true to the films as we could make it. Very similar to how we would make it if we were doing it in-house. The person who designed Buzz, the person who designed Mike from Monsters Inc., they're both involved to make sure the integration of Sora and Donald and Goofy into monsters feels right. It's an easy thing to say and it's a tough thing to realise. What is the monsterization of Donald? What does Sora look like as a toy? But it's so important because not only does it help the story along, but it helps bind them into the world and give them a reason to be there. There's such an attention to detail on both sides to getting everything right. The other thing was that once you get the characters close to the films, the more the characters look like those from the films, the more people expect them to move like the films. So it creates extra challenging work for the animators to get the movement right. It was an interesting challenge, but if you look at the Toy Story sections, it looks like the films. And you know, it really does. From the sound, to the locations, to the overall tone. Toy Box is an authentic Pixar experience that really helps get us excited for the final game. Tai Yuzui says that there are many links in Kingdom Hearts 3, and these are designed to help you attack enemies in different ways. For example, the newest link to be revealed this week is Wreck-It Ralph. He'll build lots of blocks dotted around the battlefield, which can be placed in order to corner or box in enemies. And his finisher has all those blocks explode at once. Ariel's link includes the move Mermaid Dive, which creates multiple water spots around the battlefield. And her finisher has all those spots merge into one huge water fountain, which Yuzui described as a way for players to create their own fountain show. Every single link is unique, he says, and there are many different ways to enjoy them in the game. They're definitely fun to do, even though in our demo, they often weren't that necessary, given how many different skills and attractions and transformations were available at any one time. Still, definitely fun to call them in and show off a bit though. Yuzui also revealed that a lot of his inspiration for Kingdom Hearts 3 came from Los Angeles and the areas surrounding it. For example, he said the mountains in the Hercules world were inspired by Yosemite National Park, where he went and took a picture of the mountain range. That picture was used to create the level design in the Hercules world. Yuzui also said that the team were asked to create a toy store that only they could create for the Toy Box world. And for Yuzui, being able to merge ideas from both Pixar and Square Enix to create that level made him very happy.
Hang on! Go time!
So, what did we think, given that we were some of the first people in the entire world to play Kingdom Hearts 3? Well, we were impressed. It certainly still has the heart that the series is so loved for, even after all these years. And the combat, which was never really Kingdom Hearts' strongest suit if we're honest, is much improved, and just so colourful and crazy to look at. We're a little bit concerned that the story is going to continue the tradition of being a whole load of borderline indecipherable nonsense. But really, the interactions with our heroes old and new is the real draw. And if Toy Box is anything to go by, the introduction of Pixar settings and characters is going to make those interactions even more fun. We especially loved the chat between Ham and Rex about their famous video game character friends. And the knowing nods crammed into the toy store level really carries on the series' sense of fun and adventure. We're excited to see more, in other words. Let's go! Are you? Let us know in the comments, and do like and subscribe as we have more to come on Kingdom Hearts 3 in the near future. Stay tuned to more from Eurogamer, and thanks for watching. Bye.
Look out!